Hi everyone, welcome. Today I wanted to talk about the necessity to cultivate safety to be ourselves. As children, we shape our personality and behavior according to the feedback we receive from our families, from our caregivers, from the community in which we live. Slowly but surely, based on what we get as reaction to ourselves, we form an opinion of what is accepted and what is dangerous to be. When we're criticized or judged, we feel shame, we feel threat, and we do everything we can to avoid those feelings. And into adulthood, we continue in that same vein of avoiding anything that may cause disagreement from others. We really don't do conflict well. We are afraid of conflict, and it's our unconscious. It's often unconscious. We don't even realize to what extent we're just avoiding something that may cause us these uncomfortable and unpleasant feelings of shame or threat, or that sense that there is something wrong with us or we don't belong. However, what is happening today is our society is due for huge changes. In fact, we live in this time of great changes that are required. All the ways in which our society have been doing life before just really don't serve us anymore. There is so much angst, there is a lot of depression, there is a lot of suffering, violence, because we have come so far away from what is our truth. We've been cutting ourselves to pieces to become this very flat, two-dimensional being that just, we're conditioned to please. And we can no longer afford to do that if our society is to change. It's very, very important that we get to tell our stories, the stories of how it feels to be who we are. So once again, that safety to be you has to come from within. Yes, we look for safety on the outside, and I for many years expected safety for me to express myself had to come from my partner and other people in my life, but it didn't happen because people who know us as pleasers then become also dependent on us being those pleasers, and they will not necessarily accept us when we start changing and shifting and telling truths that are uncomfortable. So that safety, at least in the beginning, has to really come from us. We need to cultivate the safety to be me from within, because it's something about the process of inner alignment. We need to come to that understanding and faith and acceptance of the fact that we're here, that we belong here in the grand scheme of life, that we, even if we are not approved by some of the people in our life or in our community, there is still place for us here. And I feel that many of us really need to become disruptors and dare to become disruptors now, because new things need to be said. New ways of being need to be incorporated into our lives, and it's important for us to dare to say things that are not popular, because if we look to be validated from outside and to say things that will be approved by others, we'll just continue with the consensus, we'll just continue with the status quo. For us to create any change, we need to be ready to say things that will cause anger from others and may cause friction and even threat. But our conviction of our truth will be what will carry us through. And the same thing in our private relationships, in relationships within families. When we become in full acceptance of who we are, when we understand that we have the place to be here and that our voice matters, we start talking with people in our lives from a different point of view. For example, I no longer ask for permission. When I am not in hesitancy or doubt when I speak what I need to express, it is received differently. Because I am so certain in my truth, I'm not wavering. Of course, growth means constant evolution, and change needs to be accepted, and other opinions need to be heard and incorporated when it feels right for us. That's what becomes so tricky, where we need to, what I found is that every information that passes through me, that comes to me, I filter it through my inner judgment, my inner knowing, my inner voice. Some information is immediately accepted and I am drawn to it, and some information is an immediate no, it just feels wrong. So once again, that's the courage to be me, that's the courage, that's that trust, that inner that inner connection, the connection to my inner voice, my intuition, my knowing. So once again, safety to be ourselves is one of the more important qualities that we can cultivate right now, because there are so many different voices now, loud and aggressive, that us, you know, in our society that is so connected, you hear all kinds of things, and it's very, very important to be discerning. But the only way we can be discerning is when we can rely on our own inner voice and not necessarily see what others are saying and accepting as truth. We each have our own inner barometer that tells us very clearly what our truth is, and our most important quality to cultivate today is to get in contact with that sense of inner knowing, our intuition, and then allow ourselves that safety, cultivate that safety to be who we are. So some thoughts for this week. Thank you for joining me. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It'll be wonderful to build the community, and I welcome your comments and thoughts as always. Thank you once again.